Leading a remote team isn't just about managing projects from a distance. It's about connecting, inspiring, and empowering people, even when they're miles away. In The Long-Distance Leader, Kevin Eikenberry and Wayne Turmel reveal the secrets to effective remote leadership in today's rapidly evolving workplace. They provide a roadmap for building trust, maintaining engagement, and driving results, all while leading from afar. In this audiobook summary by AudiblePages, we'll explore their 15 rules for remarkable remote leadership. You'll learn how to master virtual communication, set clear expectations, and foster a culture of accountability and collaboration. By the end, you'll be equipped with actionable strategies to lead your team effectively, no matter where you are in the world. Chapter 1. The Leadership Mindset for Remote Work. The authors begin by emphasizing the mindset shift required for remote leadership. They explain that leading a remote team is different from traditional leadership and requires a greater focus on intentional communication and trust building. The authors outline the principles of leading with purpose and clarity. Think about how effective you'd be if you approached remote leadership with a clear strategy. The authors teach that successful remote leaders are proactive, adaptable, and purpose-driven. Regularly remind yourself of your purpose as a leader and ensure that your actions align with that purpose. Set time aside to reflect on your leadership goals and how they translate to the remote environment. Chapter 2. Building Trust from a Distance. This chapter covers trust, the foundation of any effective remote team. The authors explain that trust in a remote environment is built through consistency, reliability, and transparent communication. They discuss the importance of following through on promises and being available when your team needs you. Consider how much stronger your team would be if trust were at the core of your leadership. The authors teach that trust takes time to build, but only moments to break. Schedule regular check-ins with your team members to build trust and show genuine interest in their well-being, not just their work. Chapter 3. Communication is key. The authors highlight the challenges of virtual communication. They explain how miscommunication is more likely when you can't read body language or tone in person. The authors provide tips for choosing the right communication medium, whether it's email, video calls, or instant messaging. Think about how much more effective your communication would be if you adapted it to the remote context. The authors teach that clarity, brevity, and context are crucial in a virtual world. Always clarify expectations and summarize key points at the end of virtual meetings to ensure everyone is on the same page. Chapter 4. Setting Clear Expectations. This chapter emphasizes the importance of setting clear expectations. The authors explain that remote teams need well-defined roles, goals, and responsibilities to function smoothly. They share strategies for communicating expectations clearly and holding team members accountable. Imagine how much more productive your team would be if everyone knew exactly what was expected of them. The authors teach that clarity eliminates confusion and fosters accountability. Document expectations and make them easily accessible for your team. Follow up to ensure everyone understands their responsibilities and deadlines. Chapter 5. Managing Performance Remotely. The authors discuss the challenges of managing performance in a remote setting. They explain how to measure outcomes rather than hours worked and provide feedback that motivates and inspires. The authors emphasize the importance of regular performance reviews and using data to track progress. Consider how much more efficient your team would be if performance was measured fairly and transparently. The authors teach that focusing on results, not micromanagement, leads to greater productivity. Use performance metrics that focus on outcomes and impact rather than micromanaging day-to-day activities. Celebrate achievements and provide constructive feedback regularly. Chapter 6. Leading Productive Virtual Meetings. Virtual meetings are a staple of remote work, but they often feel unproductive or exhausting. In this chapter, the authors share best practices for running effective virtual meetings, from setting clear agendas to engaging participants. They discuss how to use technology effectively and ensure that meetings add value. Think about how much time you'd save if your virtual meetings were always productive. The authors teach that preparation and engagement are key to making meetings worthwhile. Create a detailed agenda for every virtual meeting and assign roles, such as a timekeeper and a note-taker, to keep things organized and efficient. Chapter 7. Fostering engagement and collaboration. The authors emphasize the importance of engagement and collaboration in a remote team. They share strategies for keeping team members motivated and fostering a sense of community, even when people are physically distant. The authors discuss using collaborative tools and recognizing achievements. Consider how engaged your team would be if everyone felt connected and valued. The authors teach that a culture of collaboration and recognition can boost morale and productivity. Use virtual team-building activities to strengthen bonds and make collaboration enjoyable. Recognize individual and team accomplishments regularly. Chapter 8. Technology and Tools for Remote Leadership. This chapter covers the technology and tools that support effective remote leadership. The authors explain how to choose the right platforms for communication, collaboration, and project management. They also discuss how to prevent technology from becoming a distraction. Think about how efficient your team would be with the right tech tools. The authors teach that technology should simplify remote work, not complicate it. Evaluate your current tools and ensure they meet your team's needs. Invest in training to help your team use technology efficiently. Chapter 9. Self-care and well-being for leaders. Leading a remote team can be stressful, so the authors dedicate this chapter to self-care and well-being. They explain that leaders must prioritize their mental and physical health to remain effective. The authors share tips on managing stress, setting boundaries, and maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Imagine how much more focused and present you'd be if you practice self-care. The authors teach that a well-rested leader is a more effective and compassionate one. Schedule regular breaks and make time for activities that recharge you. Set boundaries to separate work from personal life, especially when working from home. Chapter 10. Continuous improvement and learning. In the final chapter, the authors discuss the importance of continuous improvement and lifelong learning. They encourage leaders to seek feedback, learn from experiences, and stay updated on best practices for remote leadership. The authors emphasize that great leaders never stop growing. Consider how impactful your leadership would be if you committed to continuous improvement. The authors teach that learning and adaptability are the hallmarks of a successful remote leader. Invest in leadership training and stay open to feedback from your team. Use every experience as an opportunity to learn and grow. Chapter 11. Developing a coaching culture in remote teams. In this chapter, the authors emphasize the importance of developing a coaching culture among remote teams. They explain that coaching isn't just about giving instructions. It's about guiding and supporting team members to reach their full potential. The authors provide practical strategies for becoming an effective coach, even when you're not physically present. Imagine how empowered your team would feel if you provided regular coaching and support. The authors teach that remote leaders must make an extra effort to connect with their team members individually and help them grow. Schedule one-on-one coaching sessions with your team members. Use these opportunities to listen, provide constructive feedback, and help them set personal development goals. Chapter 12. Leading with empathy and understanding. The authors stress the importance of leading with empathy in a remote setting. They explain that working from a distance can create feelings of isolation and disconnection, and leaders must be attuned to their team's emotional well-being. The authors share tips for showing empathy and understanding in virtual interactions. Consider how much more engaged your team would be if they felt their concerns were heard and valued. The authors teach that empathy strengthens relationships and fosters a sense of belonging. Check in with your team members on a personal level, not just a professional one. Ask how they're doing and be genuinely interested in their well-being. Chapter 13. Balancing technology and human connection. This chapter addresses the balance between technology and human connection. The authors caution against relying too heavily on digital tools at the expense of meaningful interaction. They explain that technology should enhance communication, not replace the human touch, and offer strategies for maintaining a personal connection. Think about how much more fulfilling your work relationships would be if you balance technology with genuine connection. The authors teach that a thoughtful approach to using technology can make remote work more effective and enjoyable. Use video calls for important conversations that require a personal touch. Reserve emails and messaging for less emotionally charged communication. Chapter 14. Navigating cultural differences in global teams. The authors explore the challenges of leading culturally diverse teams. They explain that cultural differences can impact communication styles, work expectations, and decision-making processes. The authors provide strategies for navigating these differences with sensitivity and respect. Consider how much more cohesive your team would be if you respected and embraced cultural diversity. The authors teach that understanding and appreciating different perspectives make for a more harmonious and innovative team. Educate yourself about the cultural backgrounds of your team members. Be mindful of time zones, holidays, and communication preferences to show respect for their unique needs. Chapter 15. Measuring and Celebrating Success. In the final chapter, the authors discuss the importance of measuring and celebrating success. They emphasize that recognizing achievements is crucial for maintaining motivation in a remote environment. The authors share tips on how to celebrate milestones and measure progress effectively. Imagine how motivated your team would be if their hard work was regularly acknowledged and celebrated. The authors teach that celebrating success builds morale and keeps everyone engaged. Create a virtual wall of fame, or hold regular recognition meetings to celebrate team and individual accomplishments. A little appreciation goes a long way in boosting team spirit. Final thoughts on remote leadership. The long-distance leader equips you with the tools to lead with purpose, build trust, and foster collaboration, no matter the distance. Remember, being a successful remote leader means balancing technology with human connection, staying empathetic, and continuously improving your leadership skills. As remote work becomes the new norm, your role as a leader is more crucial than ever. Start implementing these strategies today. Whether it's running a more effective virtual meeting or scheduling one-on-one coaching sessions, each effort you make brings your team closer to remarkable success.